Ross Tucker. He joins us every Tuesday. You could follow him on social media at Ross Tucker NFL. All right, Ross, how are we doing today?
Ross.
I'm doing fantastic, Joe. How are you doing? How you guys doing?
Well, we're great, especially after the second half. I was not doing great at halftime of that game, Ross. I was like, oh no, this is I haven't seen this in years. And then they got up off the mat with an incredible comeback. Ross, take us through your thoughts watching how the Eagles pulled that off on Sunday, because at one point, down 19, it looked like they were about to have their first big loss in a very long time.
Well, so this is an interesting one. This is the first game this year where, unfortunately, I couldn't watch them live because it was the same time as my game, right? So I was doing Titans-Colts for CBS. So what's funny is, during commercial breaks or whatever, I'll check my phone, and I'm convinced it could be a good article or a good show if we just showed my high school friends' text thread. I mean, the amount of texts I had on my phone, guys, of people that wanted Patullo fired and how pathetic this is and blah, blah, blah. And then to see the text at the end, and I had one of them was there and took a video. It was remarkable. So then while I'm flying back from Nashville, then I'm able to watch the whole game. So I kind of knew, on some level what had happened. Even my wife and daughters were going crazy when Jordan blocked the kick and returned it, and they were telling me about it. So I had a little bit of a different perspective, I guess, Joe. It's kind of fun, by the way, to watch when the Eagles are down like that if you know they're going to come back and win. But it was stunning, absolutely stunning. I'll say this. I thought they were fortunate that the Rams didn't take better advantage of their opportunities in the first half. I did not think it was Sean McVay's best performance. But, the things that were so encouraging is Jordan Davis again. Joe, Hugh, I got to tell you guys, right? I don't remember if you guys asked me or not in the offseason. I was pretty skeptical when they picked up his fifth-year option. I would not have done that, I don't think. I guess I'm conservative in nature, and he had not shown me enough through 3 years to guarantee him $12 million 2 years from now, next year in year 5. My thought would have been, hey, if he has a good year this year, then we'll give him a new contract during the season or after the season. But I'm not going to guarantee a guy that's done so little $12 million in 2026. Boy, was I wrong. I mean, I don't know what Howie knew that I didn't know, but this is by far the best that guy has ever played. Barn is still a star, and I know Hugh's conspiracy theory or whatever. I guess what I would say is I just don't understand why they love so many of these multiple tight end sets. I really didn't understand it the week when Goddard was out. But even with Goddard back, I don't understand. It's like they prefer Calcaterra out there over Jahan Dotson, and I disagree. And I'll tell you this, okay? I can speak to this from experience, Joe. The less tight ends, the better in terms of blocking, right? I can't tell you how many times on teams I was on, we would run the ball, and the O-line would all do our job, and the tight end would get their you-know-what kicked by a guy like Hugh, and that's why the running play didn't work. So it's bizarre to me. I would love to hear the guys explain to me why they do play Calcaterra or the second tight end so much. I think they're much better off spreading the defense out more, getting Dotson out there. You give Hurts another quick answer, but also it lightens the box. There's one less guy in the middle for when you do run it. So let's hope that the transition from them being heavy 12 and 13 personnel, which for those of you that have no idea, that just means 2 and 3 tight ends with the one back. Let's hope they transition to more 11 personnel like they did in the second half, which is just one tight end. It seems like it's pretty clearly their best personnel grouping.
No question. The more spread out, and Jalen had more room to operate. The whole offense had more room to operate. Quickly on the Davis point, yeah, I was with you, Ross, and Howie may have saved himself having to give out a $100 million contract in March to keep Jordan Davis, because if he was a free agent, he may have been playing himself to a huge dollar amount next offseason. So that's out. He's here at least for next year. We'll see after that. But, Ross, offensively, when you watched it in the second half, besides the formational change, What changed? Because we have Hugh's theory that Petullo was stripped of play calling. We have the theory that the Eagles just had to throw, so they had no choice, and they gave the ball to Jalen and said, "Let's cook." They remembered AJ was there. Like, what did you notice? Did the Rams play differently? Was it all the Eagles? What happened as they went from no offense to unstoppable in the second half?
Well, I think it is a little combination of all of those things. Certainly if you're the Rams, I think that interesting thing is I didn't notice that it was like a lot more zone coverage, because it felt like on those plays where A.J. Brown was just deboing that dude, that they were still in man coverage. So I don't, because typically what happens is when a team has a 3-score lead like that, they start to play a lot more, we'll call it shell or cloud coverage.
Yeah, the umbrella
which just means,
on the back end.
two deep guys, 4 deep guys, whatever, right, to not let anything over the top. And then what happens, Joe, is you complete a ton of passes underneath. The offense moves the ball well. You get down the red zone. A lot of times maybe you settle for a field goal or not. At the end of the game, the quarterback stats look pretty awesome, and you're like, why didn't they do that the whole game? Well, they didn't do it the whole game is because the defense wasn't playing soft zone the whole game. I don't know that was the case with the Rams. The most encouraging thing from the game, I would say, is that's the best A.J. Brown has looked this year. I'd seen some tape of people putting out where they were kind of questioning, whether or not he was 100% healthy. Man, he looked awesome in that game, the way he took over physically. I say this all the time. Is there another receiver in the league built like him? I mean, he's 6'1", 230. 6'1", 230 is like the power running backs that we watched when we were in the 90s. You know what I mean? Like that's a thick, powerful body. And they're going to put Emmanuel Forbes on him, who weighs like $165. That's exactly what that should look like. It should look like AJ catching it and then manhandling a guy that he has 65 pounds on.
Ross, let's spin this forward. Sunday at the Bucs. A lot of discussion now. Should this be the offense? Should they flip this thing and throw it more? First few games, it feels like teams are selling out to stop the run. The box is heavy. You mentioned the tight ends. Maybe they can kind of free it up by throwing more early, but that hasn't been their MO for over a year now. Ross, in terms of the philosophy moving forward, do we think it changed because of Sunday, or was that a one-off?
I'd like to think that it changed to the point. Now, listen, this is all defense dependent. This is all game plan dependent, what the opposition's doing. Obviously, I think most people are smart enough, especially in Philly, to realize that. But let's just say I hope what we can talk about, people are going to talk about run-pass ratio. A lot of that is, dependent on the script, the game script. Let's all just root for more 11 personnel, right? The more Jahan Dotson or Darius Cooper or anybody, the more they have a third receiver out there, the better I'll feel, because it gives Hurts another answer quickly in the passing game, and it should actually open up lanes. I wouldn't be surprised, Joe, if they go more 11 personnel and then Saquon goes off, right, where it's more spread out, more receivers, but then the defense gets worried about that and Saquon goes off. Remember, this is a Bucs team, okay, that has embarrassed the Eagles the last 2 times they played. They played twice in 2024. Once in the playoffs last January or the January before, whatever, and then once last year. The Bucs won by 3 scores both times. The Eagles kind of owe these guys one. Todd Bowles thinks he has Jalen Hurts' number, and maybe he does. I'm really hoping, I know a couple Bucs fans, and they bring it up all the time. I'm like, well, why don't you guys go ahead and win something then? But I'm really hoping the Eagles can take care of business here so that the Bucs can't think they have this like magic voodoo doll on Hurts, Sirianni, and the Eagles.
Ross, last one I know it's early, but, watching the first few weeks of the season, Eagles go to Kansas City and win. Last night, Detroit walks into Baltimore and pushes them around. There's been this feeling that the AFC, because they have the great quarterbacks, like that's the conference. Ross, it feels to me like the NFC is better than the AFC. The AFC has Josh Allen and Mahomes and obviously Burrow's hurt and Herbert and Lamar, but it feels to me like the NFC is the stronger conference. Would you agree?
I'm not sure about that. I know people are saying that right now, Joe, but first of all, I think the Chargers and Colts are both legitimately good. They're both undefeated. I did the Colts Sunday. They look really good.
Is this Daniel Jones thing for real?
Yeah, I mean, it absolutely is. And the Giants, this might be as embarrassing as the Giants' record's been in recent years. How do you let your star running back go and he becomes the offensive player of the year in the league, and then you let your quarterback go? I mean, Daniel Jones right now would be the offensive player of the year in the league. Now, there's a long way to go, but it's such a bad look for the Giants that their two foundational skill guys that they moved on from are both like stars in the other team that they go to. And I still believe, listen, I know they're 1-2, but I think the Ravens are really good still. I think the Chiefs will absolutely be in this thing until the end. I think the Broncos at 1-2 are still pretty good. Meanwhile, in the NFC, Bosa is like a player you can't lose for the Niners. Like, there's certain guys you can get by with. You can't get by losing your best defensive player. Like your only known pass rusher like that. They might still have a good year, but they're not going to the Super Bowl now. And then these other teams, I don't know. I mean, the Vikings, the Packers just lost to the Browns. So I know that's the theory right now, Joe. I'm going to disagree. I'm going to still say AFC.
It's going to be fun to watch as it plays out, and that is a huge loss for the Niners with Bosa. Ross, we appreciate it as always. Have a great week, and we'll talk next time.
Have a good one.
Sounds great. See you guys.
There he goes, Ross Tucker there.